and gentlemen, and welcome. My name is Gentleman Ghost, aka the Cynical British Ghost, and today we are on the Green Wizard server, or the Wizard's Green as you've come to know the series. Now, today you're seeing something a little bit different. Now, that is because this is a time lapse of me building my base. Now, in accordance with the higher powers of the Wizard's Green, I have been granted demigod status. And with that status, I now have special powers, which I can use to create marvelous structures. Now, of course, with these powers, there are certain rules and limitations, such as not being allowed to create fantastical machines with the press of a button, or so on. However, with these powers also comes great responsibility, which means that being a demigod, I need to keep an eye on the other players. So, right now, what you're seeing is my characters zipping around and building the first part of my base. Now, I decided to use some purple fantasy block pillars all around the place, along with netherrack and quartz. Netherrack to burn and quartz as the stairs. And on my tower, earlier on, you could also see that it had a peaked roof, which you haven't seen before. That's because part of the footage that I took earlier on got corrupted, unfortunately, so I couldn't record that part being built. However, it's there. Now, I used quartz walls across the bridge around my castle, shall we say. It's not really a castle, it's more of a mage tower. Now, originally, the mage tower did actually have ice pillars all the way up the front part of the first tower, or on corners anyway. But unfortunately, as you'll see later, the ice that is from chisel, well, I didn't expect it to melt. It melted. It was unfortunate. However, that happens sometimes. Now, the first part of the build is a simple staircase with one tower and a bridge and so on. And I was planning originally to incorporate the whole thing into the tree that is behind you, and I did in fact do that. Because what I'm thinking is the main tower that I'm building now, that will be my Thorncraft tower. The tree behind it, and anything that branches off it, that will be my Botania tower. I'm sorry about the little glitches that you keep seeing. I'm still experimenting with the recording software and mod that I use to create this. Now, as you can see here, I'm experimenting with some form of, what would you call it, arch that goes up over the tower. However, I couldn't quite get a design that I really liked. And every time I tried to create one, it just looked weird. So I ended up just leaving a floor on top and adding a few spires around the edge. Now later on, what I was planning to do was I'm going to put a great big ball on top and just call it the Golf Ball 2.0. And anyone who's been on the old server will know what I'm talking about. Now here we see me building the first section of the walkway that goes across to the tree. Now, I used marble bricks for both this section and the section that is on the first tower. Sorry, I'm sort of half asleep at the moment. I can't quite control my voice. And I added a few windows on the first tower as well. Now, the walkways themselves are following a pretty uniform pattern, which is basically their spruce wood on where the player walks, quartz slabs underneath, and quartz stairs just encasing them with a quartz wall across the top. Of course, I was planning to have a few more towers around, but they can wait because I really don't have need for that much space at the moment. And until I actually get into some storage mods, such as Project Red and so on, I'm really not going to need that much. So now, as we pan around here, this is where I started work on the tree. And that branch there, where I just zipped in, that there is where one of the observation points on the tree is. You see, now I'm building a little platform, and I'm not too sure on it myself. I might change it in the future, or I might add some stuff and so on. And now you can see me lighting up the area with fireflies, which are from the Twilight Forest mod, which we also have installed. Now, going around this tree, if you will, it's a redwood tree from Natura. We pan up to the top and we see a small platform which is on top of that, which is another observation deck for what I have come to think of as my kingdom. Of course, not everything works properly. I haven't tried all the materials out. I've been a bit lenient when it comes to materials, and I haven't really experimented with them that much. So in the future you might see some change in designs and so on, and quite a lot of different things might happen. Now, as we pan back around, we're going to fade to black here soon enough, and then you'll see a slow pan completed version of this build, which is, I have to admit, quite beautiful. Now, later on, I decided I didn't like the ice columns on the first tower, so I replaced them with void stone. Now, as we pan up here, you can see a close-up of what I used. Now, originally, the pillars on the corners of that tower, as I said before, they were ice, but now they're a very nice purple brick. Now, admittedly, I'm sorry about this, Claire, but voidstone is actually by accident, completely by accident, but it's a really rare Thaumcraft resource, and I didn't know it was a Thaumcraft resource until I checked the original, because the pillar that I'm using is from Chisel. Now, I'm not, and I promise this, I will not be using the Voidstone in any way, shape or form to help with my Thaumcraft. However, it does look very good, which is why I'm using it. Now, guys, I'm sorry about this frame jitter that you're seeing here, and this sparkly kaleidoscope rainbow effect that's popping over the screen. That's a problem with the recording mod, which I should hopefully have fixed soon enough. It's rather annoying, but it can't be helped. Unfortunately. Now, as you can see, I added a small but fairly decent little outcrop coming off the tree, and that I think I'll be probably using for the Alfheim portal or something. I'm not too sure yet, but as I said, that's for my Botania part. Now, as you may notice in the background, suddenly a tree just popped up. That's because I've been going around and I've been growing them all over the place. That one is a very large redwood sapling that I just planted, 7 by 7 square. Suddenly, poof, up from nowhere. Yeah, they'll pop up very suddenly during the video. I'm really sorry about all this really annoying rainbow-colored jittery effects that are all over the video, but once I manage to get the hang of this mod, I'll see what I can do about it. Hopefully. I think it's something to do with the fact that what's currently recording it is a NPC and not an actual player, because I only have one account that I can use on Minecraft. So it's unfortunate, but it cannot be helped. So hopefully during the next few weeks I'll get the hang of this mod better, and you might even see some castle let's builds. Leave a comment below saying whether you want to see me build an empire or something using this mod once I get the hang of it. But yeah, it's very interesting. Now, as you can see, I've grown a few more trees around my castle, and you've got the jungle on one side and there's a river going around the edge of the mountain and so on. But really this place is just sort of it's a place to call home, really. And I've added a few things around, and maybe in the next episode I'll show you a little Easter egg that I stuck in the bottom of my primary tower, the one with the spire on it. Now, as we pan around here, you can see that down there I have actually planted some transformation trees, and that's because I wanted the area around my base to have this nice, soft, sort of enchanted foresty look about it. So I added the transformation trees that actually changes the biome around it and turns it into this very nice blue turquoise color, which I found extremely fascinating and very nice. I also added a few great woods for effect, and I was thinking of adding some silver wood, but that's very rare, and Claire wouldn't approve of me getting the rarer trees out, because they're not, especially since I'm doing Thorncraft and so on. Now, as we fade here, I'm going to jump back in game and give you a little tour walking around. But I hope that you have all enjoyed this time lapse of sorts. And as we pan around this tower, I certainly hope that you'll all want to see more. So, for now, let's jump back in game and I'll show you what we've got. Welcome back to this quite incredible construction of mine. It's not finished, far from it in fact. As I mentioned earlier, it's still a work in progress and I have several things that I need to do. However, without further ado, I am going to take you on a tour of the towers and their gardens, along with a few bits and bobs that I added for effect. Now, as you may notice, down in my hotbar, I have 2 dragon eggs. Now, these were given to me by Valkyract, who is also on the server, and I am very grateful for him giving these to me for purposes. Now, since we have the Dragons mod in this pack, I can make a ghost dragon, which I shall be doing so very soon, and definitely on camera, although I may have to time-lapse it. Now, down here, as you may notice, the first thing, now this was built in survival, so don't you worry, Claire, I haven't cheated in Tinkers. No, this was built in survival, and I still need to get the casting basins and stuff, but all of this was built before all of that. Now, coming down here, I actually added in a little tomb, or more of a dungeon. It's meant to be a well with skeletons in it. I think I actually did the effect quite well because it's got the dark brick above it, and it's well, monsters might spawn in there, but other than that, it's fine. Now, as you can see, I use these pillars up there just to add a little bit of an effect. And as we come around the mountain and head on down, you can see that there are some great wood trees. These ones I planted in survival. Now, these are custom NPC lamps, which I popped in creative since you cannot craft them. They're just to light the place up. They're literally like a torch. There's nothing else you can do with them. And as we come down here, you'll see the transformation trees that I planted, along with some rainbow oak saplings, which I thought might be quite splendid to go with them. And I have to admit, these shades are very beautiful. So yeah, these trees are incredible. Absolutely incredible. Ooh, what's happening? I'll take that. And I'll just plant it here. There. Now, these gardens, I'm still planning on doing some stuff in them, but for the moment, who are you? Traveling merchant. He will give me books for gold coins. Well, kind sir, I do not have any gold coins, unfortunately, but you are welcome to stick around. My castle is for everyone who wants to visit. Anyway, that was weird. Going through here, you can also see that my towers are bridged together, I guess you could say, by these sort of quartz and spruce walkways that I talked about earlier on in the video. But mostly I've used Project Red marble and purple fantasy blocks. Now, hello pig, go away. If we move on up here, I shall attempt to give you a tour of the rest of the place. Now, in my tower, I actually did a bit of renovating since there wasn't really much to see in there. So I actually added in a few candles and a bed. I actually need to sleep in that bed so that if I die, I respawn here. But yeah, so I'll do that now actually. Going on up, going on up, going on up, up, through here. Now you can see I've got some Crimson Cult banners up there. That's because I encountered them at some point. Now, as you can see, I have added some DecoCraft candles in, along with this little pillar here, which is, I quite like the look of, just as a candle holder, sort of a placeholder for maybe something else later. Oops, I just fell. Yes, I also added a skeleton up in my bedroom. It's just one of the victims that I chained to the wall and tortured endlessly. It was quite enjoyable. I'm just going to sleep for a moment and skip the night. Yay! There we go. Now, if I pop down this hole, which is actually meant for an arcane levitator that I'll be making later, but I'll probably cover it up now. If we come down here now, you see that I have used these rather interesting little runic blocks. Now, these are from Twilight Forest, and you can't get them in survival, which is why I had to build this all in creative. But basically, what they would normally have in between them is this force field. Now, these are from the end boss in the Twilight Forest, and they're very interesting. There's nothing up there yet, but I'll probably be building something there later on. Now, if I come down here, we see that we've got a pair of balconies over here, and I've used some very nice fancy lanterns to go with them. And if we walk across here, this is one of the towers. I'll probably might store my dragon there once I hatch him and so on. I've used some bamboo ladders to go up there, but I'm not going to go all the way up because you've seen it in time-lapse and everything. And this is going to be probably part of my Britannia setup. I'm not sure how it's going to be. However, ladies and gentlemen, I thank ye all very much for watching this video. I'll probably have some more content up within the week. I've got some diversity that needs to go up and so on. But mainly, there's not much going on. Valiant Hearts is still proving to be a problem to record since it, well, Uplay keeps crashing, unfortunately. However, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all very much for watching, and I shall see you all next time on the Wizard's Green. Bye!